There is a silent void within you that is not absence, but the quantum vacuum itself calling. An invisible space that many mistake for loneliness, silence, or even a lack of meaning. Yet this void is not absence, it is fullness. It is the matrix of creation, the cosmic womb that holds all possibilities, all the songs yet to be sung, all the timelines awaiting your conscious choice. Since the beginning of your journey, you've felt something greater calling you. Sometimes it's an unexplained restlessness, a sense that life is not limited to what you see. Other times it's as if a soft, profound voice from beyond time reminds you that you're not here just to survive, but to awaken. The quantum vacuum is that invisible field where everything already exists in a state of pure potentiality. There, every version of you is already alive, the one trapped in old cycles of repetition, and the one that breaks free to access an entirely new level of existence. The quantum awakening happens when you choose to align with this field, crossing the portal that separates the old identity from the new consciousness. You've likely noticed how many people spend their lives chasing external answers, believing fulfillment comes from outside. They pursue titles, possessions, relationships, validations, and yet they carry an inner void that never fills. This is the mistake, seeking outside what can only be accessed within. The void is not a hole to be filled, but the key to unlocking what has always been latent. Here's the crucial point. If you ignore this call, you remain stuck in the repetition of old timelines, reliving the same patterns, attracting the same scenarios, encountering the same limits. But if you choose to listen, if you decide to dive into this living silence, a portal opens before you, the portal of awakening. In that moment, your life ceases to be a predictable sequence of past memories and becomes a conscious expression of what you choose to vibrate. This is where the quantum awakening reveals itself as the inevitable destiny for those who dare to walk beyond the shadows of conditioning. The void you feel is not a burden. It is an invitation. It's like a door slightly ajar deep within your being, whispering that there is more, so much more than you were taught to believe. The truth is, every breath you take already connects you to this field. Every thought, every emotion, every choice resonates in the vacuum and collapses a reality before your eyes. If you're reading this, it's not by chance. It's because deep in your heart, you already know you didn't come to repeat, but to transcend. You know your soul yearns for a new level of existence. This message is a reminder, not of something external, but of what already vibrates within your field. Prepare yourself, because on this journey, we will dive together into the mystery of the quantum vacuum. You will understand that there is nothing to create, only to remember. You will realize that awakening is not a distant promise, but a reality accessible now, in this very moment. But before we proceed, know this. This call requires courage. Courage to look within, courage to silence the noise of the world, courage to cross the portal. Many feel it, but few follow it. The question the vacuum asks you right now is, are you ready to awaken? You must understand an essential truth. The quantum vacuum is not absence, but invisible fullness. It is the matrix of being, the field that sustains all creation and pulses silently in every cell of your body. Contrary to what the ordinary mind imagines, this vacuum is not a dead void, but a vibrant ocean of latent energy, ready to respond to the touch of consciousness. Quantum science already offers clues to this mystery. Experiments show that particles can exist in a state of superposition, existing in multiple possibilities simultaneously. The observer effect demonstrates that the act of observing alters the outcome. Quantum entanglement indicates that two particles, even separated by vast distances, can behave as if they were one. These phenomena are scientific echoes of a profound spiritual truth. Reality is shaped not only by physical laws, but by the vibration of the consciousness that permeates it. The quantum vacuum is the space where all possibilities already exist before they are chosen. It's like an immense book where all stories are written in potential, waiting for you to choose the page you wish to live. It's the silence that holds all music, the invisible canvas that contains all paintings yet to be painted. Everything that has been and everything that could be rests there, waiting for the touch of those who dare to align with it. But here's the decisive point. The vacuum does not respond to superficial desires, but to true vibration. Many believe that simply asking or wishing will transform reality, but the field is not fooled. It doesn't respond to what you say you want, but to who you are at your core. The vibration you sustain, composed of your recurring thoughts, your dominant emotions, and the frequency of your heart, is what shapes the experiences you collapse before you. Imagine this. In the vacuum, the awakened, abundant, and fulfilled version of you already exists. This version is not a distant dream, but a vibrational reality pulsing in the field, waiting for the moment you choose to align with it. Likewise, there are also versions of you trapped in fear, repetition, and scarcity. All of them coexist in the ocean of possibilities. Every choice you make, every emotion you feed, is a signal sent to the vacuum, as if you were declaring, "This is what I choose to live." This field is not outside of you. It is you. It is reflected in your breath, in every heartbeat, in every thought that moves through your mind. The vacuum is both the cosmic matrix of the universe and the inner space of your consciousness. That's why mystics, scientists, and spiritual seekers, though using different languages, converge on the same revelation. Everything that exists arises from the invisible, and the invisible responds to being. Think of a metaphor. When you throw a stone into a calm lake, ripples spread across the surface. Similarly, every vibration you emit, whether fear, love, trust, or doubt, reverberates in the vacuum and shapes the surface of your reality. If you live in anxiety and repeat the same negative thoughts, the field simply returns echoes of those waves. But if you change your vibration, if you choose to sustain higher states of gratitude, expansion, and trust, new waves form, and the surface of your life transforms. The quantum awakening begins right here. In the understanding that you are not a victim of external circumstances, but a conscious co-creator with the quantum field. Nothing is truly out of your reach because all possibilities already exist within the vacuum. What's missing is not opportunity, but alignment. This is where many stumble. They believe they need to conquer something, chase after it, accumulate merits, or wait for external signs. But the truth is that the field already contains the fulfilled and awakened version. The path is not to seek outside, but to align within. It is to vibrate from the heart, not from fear. It is to recognize that the vacuum doesn't require effort, but presence. The quantum vacuum is the matrix of being. In it, you don't ask permission to be who you are. You simply remember. It doesn't demand that you fight against what you don't want, only that you become an open channel for what already is. And here, once again, the question returns. Which version of yourself are you feeding? The one that repeats the past, or the one that paves the way for awakening? The choice is not in some distant future. It happens now, in this exact moment, in the silence of the vacuum that listens to the vibration of your being. The quantum awakening is not a distant philosophical concept, nor a theory reserved for quantum physicists or advanced spiritual seekers. It is a shift in your state of being, a transition in frequency that happens within you. Contrary to what many believe, this process is not mental, not just about learning new ideas or memorizing sophisticated techniques. The quantum awakening is a profound vibrational realignment where mind, heart, and body become instruments in tune with the vacuum field. Many try to change their lives while maintaining the same old vibration, as if it were possible to create a new reality while carrying the emotions of the past. But this is an illusion. As Joe Dispenza teaches, you cannot create the new while living in the emotions of the old self. When you remain trapped in fear, anxiety, anger, or scarcity, you are vibrating within the timeline that sustains those states. You may try to affirm positive things, but the field doesn't respond to words. It responds to the vibration you truly sustain. Bruce Lipton complements this view by showing that the body's biology responds directly to the internal environment created by thoughts and emotions. If you live in emotional states of stress, the body produces chemicals that reinforce the survival cycle. But if you choose to sustain elevated emotions, such as gratitude, trust, and love, your body begins to function differently, activating the biology of well-being and regeneration. Thus, the quantum awakening is not only a spiritual process, but also a biological one. Your body becomes living proof of the vibrational transformation. The quantum awakening is, in essence, a remembering. You don't need to create anything that doesn't already exist. All versions of you are already in the quantum vacuum, the one that repeats old patterns and the one that vibrates in freedom and expansion. Awakening is the act of aligning with the version that already carries fullness. It is consciously choosing to vibrate in accordance with what you wish to experience. This means awakening is not a future event, something you need to wait patiently to achieve. It is available now, in this very moment. When you take a deep breath, quiet the mind, and open your heart, you are already accessing this state. No matter what happened in the past, no matter what stories your mind repeats, awakening is always a present portal, accessible in the now. Here lies the essential difference. Living in the old state of consciousness is surviving on autopilot, reacting to the same memories, reinforcing the same feelings, and recreating the same results. Living the quantum awakening is breaking this cycle, placing yourself in the space beyond the conditioned mind, vibrating from the heart in alignment with the vacuum field. Many confuse awakening with accumulating spiritual knowledge. They read, watch, study, but continue vibrating in the same old frequencies. True awakening happens when you cross the barrier of the mind and allow embodied consciousness to live the experience of the new. This is not theory. It is practice. It is presence. It is a daily decision. Perhaps the most revealing part is this. Awakening does not require you to fight the old. You don't need to wage war against your fears, traumas, or patterns. The field only asks that you feed the new until it becomes natural. Just as darkness cannot resist when light is turned on, old patterns cannot resist when you sustain a higher vibration. Think about it. Every time you choose to breathe consciously, every time you give thanks before seeing evidence, every time you make space for trust, you are choosing to vibrate in the field of awakening. And the quantum vacuum responds immediately because it does not recognize linear time. It responds to the vibration of the now. This is the secret. Awakening is not in the future. It's not months or years away. It is a vibrational state accessible in this moment for those who dare to stop repeating the past and choose to live in the expanded present. And when this happens, something extraordinary reveals itself. Life ceases to be a repetition of memories and becomes a conscious dance with the quantum field. You realize you are not here just to observe creation but to co-create with it. You are not just a spectator of reality, but a collapser of timelines. And every vibrational choice you make is a declaration to the universe. This is what I am. This is the call of the quantum awakening. Don't wait for the future. Don't postpone your transformation. Life responds to what you vibrate now. The portal is open. The question is, will you cross it? To ensure this understanding doesn't remain just an idea but becomes tangible, let's look at two scenarios. They represent two versions of you, coexisting in the quantum vacuum. Both already exist. The difference lies in which one you choose to feed with your attention and vibration. Scenario 1. The self on autopilot. Imagine someone waking up each morning as if the day were merely a continuation of the previous one. The alarm rings and the first sensation is exhaustion. Before even getting up, the mind accesses memories of the previous day, financial worries, unresolved hurts, rushing to work. The body responds chemically to these thoughts, flooding with anxiety and tension. This person gets up and repeats the same habits, checks their phone, compares themselves to others, recalls past mistakes, complains about small things. Deep down, they don't realize they are recreating the same reality as yesterday because they vibrate the same field of memories. Fear, insecurity, and distrust become the waves they send into the vacuum. And the field, obediently, returns experiences that confirm this vibration. Thus, old timelines repeat in an endless cycle. Scenario 2. The self that awakens in the vacuum now. Imagine another version. They also wake up but pause before getting out of bed. They take a deep breath. Instead of diving immediately into past thoughts, they choose to feel the present moment. They inhale, exhale, and in the silence of that breath, they sense a living field of possibilities surrounding them. This awakened self remembers that they don't need to wait for external signs to feel gratitude. They choose to vibrate gratitude now. Instead of rushing to feed worries, they place a hand on their heart and feel trust in the invisible. In doing so, their vibration changes. The body begins to release different chemicals, aligned with well-being. The mind, instead of recycling memories, opens space for new inspirations. The heart, instead of contracting, expands. This simple act of presence creates a new frequency that communicates with the quantum vacuum, and the field responds. Synchronicities happen, unexpected encounters arise, new opportunities appear. Not because something magical fell from the sky, but because this version chose to vibrate differently, aligning with a higher timeline. The real difference, notice, the same person, two completely different scenarios. The difference is not in the external world, but in the internal state they chose to sustain. The first scenario repeats the old identity. The second opens the portal to awakening. The most important thing is to understand that you have this power every day. Every morning, every choice, every thought is a signal sent to the vacuum. You can choose to live as the automatic self, trapped in old memories, or you can awaken as the conscious self, opening space for the new. It's not about denying reality or pretending problems don't exist. It's about remembering that you are more than the problems. Within you is a consciousness capable of accessing other frequencies, and in doing so, new solutions and paths reveal themselves. This is the central point. Vibration determines the timeline you experience, no matter how much you know, study, or desire. What shapes your reality is the frequency you choose to sustain. And this is where life becomes extraordinary. Because when you understand this, you realize that the quantum awakening is not in a distant future, but in the sum of your vibrational choices in the present. Now is the time to bring this into practical experience. So far, you've understood that the quantum vacuum is not absence, but a living field of possibilities, that all versions of you coexist within it, and that the vibration you sustain determines the timeline that manifests. But this truth must not remain theoretical. It needs to be lived, felt, embodied. For this, let's engage in a simple yet profoundly transformative practice. Close your eyes for a moment. Inhale slowly and let the air fill not just your lungs but every cell in your body. Exhale and release the tension, the weight, and the old memories that insist on holding you to the past. Repeat this breathing a few times until you feel your mind begin to quiet. Now, direct your attention to the inner space. Don't seek images, don't force thoughts. Just notice the void. This void is not absence. It is pure presence. It is the quantum vacuum, alive, silent, and yet full of latent energy. Stay in this state for a few moments, simply perceiving this invisible field that surrounds and permeates you. In this state of presence, imagine yourself already living the awakened version that exists in the vacuum. See yourself in a timeline where you vibrate confidence, expansion, and fullness. Observe yourself living in alignment, healthy, abundant, and conscious. But don't limit yourself to visualizing. Feel it in your body. Bring the elevated emotions of this version into the present. Feel gratitude as if it were already reality. Feel trust as if it were already anchored within you. This is the secret. It's not about pretending, but remembering. You're not inventing something that doesn't exist. You're simply accessing a version of yourself that already vibrates in the vacuum. When you feel this reality in your body, you are collapsing it as a present possibility. Stay in this state for a few moments, feeling that your breath connects you to the field. With each inhalation, you access the vacuum. With each exhalation, you release the old self that no longer serves you. Gradually, you begin to notice that the vibration shifts. The body relaxes, the mind quiets, the heart expands. If you make this practice a daily habit, even for just a few minutes, you will begin to reprogram your subconscious. Each time you sustain this new frequency, you weaken the old conditioned mind circuits and create new neural connections. The body, once addicted to survival emotions, begins to adapt to the chemistry of expansion. Thus, the old self dissolves naturally, without effort. This practice doesn't require a special place or a specific time. You can do it when you wake up, before bed, or during pauses throughout the day. The key is the quality of presence and the authenticity of the emotion. The more genuine your gratitude, the more authentic your trust, the stronger the signals sent to the field. Remember, you're not asking the vacuum for something that doesn't yet exist. You're declaring your choice to vibrate the version that is already available. And little by little, the external begins to reflect the internal. Synchronicities align, the right people cross your path, doors once closed open, not as magic, but as a natural consequence of the vibration you sustain. This is the practice of connecting with the vacuum, simple, profound, transformative. It is the path to break free from repetition and access awakening. Perhaps you've already noticed. Understanding the quantum vacuum is simple. Feeling the practice is possible, but maintaining this new state seems challenging. Many start inspired, do an exercise, feel the shift for a moment, but soon return to old patterns. This creates frustration and the feeling that it's not working. But the truth is, The difficulty is not in the vacuum. The field is always abundant, always open, always responsive. The real challenge lies in the human tendency to cling to the familiar. The body and mind, over years, have become accustomed to vibrating according to past memories. Emotions like fear, guilt, worry, and anxiety have become a familiar chemistry. Here's the point. The body becomes addicted to these states. Like any addiction, it demands repetition. So, even when you try to change, the body unconsciously craves a return to the familiar emotion. This is why so many struggle to sustain elevated emotions, not because they are unattainable, but because the body has learned to depend on the old pattern. Moreover, the subconscious runs about 95% of your life. This means that even if you consciously declare you want to change, most of your actions are still guided by old programs. You may repeat positive affirmations, but if your body vibrates in stress, the message sent to the vacuum is still one of scarcity. It's like trying to row against a current without changing the water's direction. This is why so many people try to create a new reality, but end up back at the same point. They don't realize that the secret is not to fight the old, but to feed the new until it becomes stronger. The quantum awakening doesn't happen through the effort of negation, but through the act of nurturing. Imagine you're in a dark room. You could spend energy trying to push the darkness out, but it always seems to return. Yet, simply turning on a single light makes the darkness vanish naturally. So it is with the quantum leap. You don't need to fight your shadows. You just need to ignite the vibration of the new. But why does the mind insist on holding on to the old? Because the unknown feels threatening. Even if the old is painful, it's familiar. The new, however promising, creates insecurity because the body and mind have no record of what it will be like. So, in the name of safety, many remain trapped in the repetitive cycle. This is the illusion of difficulty. The leap itself is simple, but the mind creates justifications to delay, rationalize, or doubt. Liberation comes when you realize you don't need to defeat the old to awaken. You only need to choose, daily, to sustain the new. Every time you breathe consciously, every time you give thanks before evidence, every time you open yourself to trust, you strengthen the frequency of awakening. Gradually, it replaces the old programming until it becomes natural, impactful. Quote, "Awakening is not about conquering something outside, but dissolving what was never you." This is the key. What seems difficult is not the leap but the resistance to letting go of the old. When you realize this, the process becomes lighter. Instead of fighting your patterns, you simply stop feeding them. And in the space of silence that remains, the vacuum reveals itself, ready to respond to the new vibration you choose to embody. The quantum awakening is not a one-time event, a sudden experience that happens once and never needs to be cultivated again. It is a continuous process, a daily choice, a constant embodiment. It's like learning to play an instrument. Knowing the theory isn't enough. You must practice every day until the music flows naturally through your fingers. So it is with vibration. It must be chosen and strengthened until it becomes your natural state of being. The great mistake of many seekers is believing that a single elevated experience in meditation or a moment of expansion will automatically change everything. Those moments are precious, but if they're not integrated into daily life, they soon dissolve amidst routine and autopilot. The true leap happens when you bring the vacuum state into everyday life. This path can be understood through 3 fundamental practices. Enter the state beyond the old self every day. Set aside a moment to silence. It could be through meditation, conscious breathing, or simply sitting in stillness for a few minutes. The goal is to step out of the conditioned mind's fast pace and access the space beyond thoughts. In this state, you break identification with the old self and open space for new frequencies. It's like clearing the canvas where the new reality will be painted. Activate elevated emotions before external evidence. The common habit is to wait for something good to happen, to feel gratitude, joy, or love. But this is the cycle of the old self, which depends on the external to validate the internal. The quantum awakening reverses this order. You choose to feel elevated emotions now, even without external evidence. You choose to give thanks before, trust before, love before. This sends a powerful signal to the vacuum. I am already this reality. And the field responds in kind. Incorporate the chosen vibration daily. It's not enough to live this frequency in isolated moments. You must embody it in your words, actions, choices, and small daily rituals. Ask yourself throughout the day, is this action, this thought, this word aligned with the timeline I've chosen? If the answer is no, adjust. With every conscious act, you feed the vibration of the new self. This is how transformation ceases to be sporadic and becomes permanent. Remember, every thought is an offering to the field. Every word is a vibrational decree. Every action is a seed that sprouts into different timelines. When you realize this, every detail of life becomes sacred because everything contributes to strengthening the reality you wish to live. And here's the secret. You don't need to wait for grand events to see the effect of this embodiment. Small signs begin to appear, an unexpected synchronicity, a sense of lightness, a clear intuition. These are reminders that the field is responding. Over time, these signs amplify and turn into major changes. The path of daily embodiment doesn't demand perfection, but consistency. It's not about never feeling fear or anxiety again, but about choosing not to remain in those states. Whenever you notice you've slipped back to the old self, breathe, silence, and return to the vacuum state. This repetition creates new neural connections, new emotional habits, and gradually the old dissolves naturally. Awakening, therefore, is not a distant goal, but a way of life. It is the decision to live each day as an opportunity to vibrate in alignment with the quantum field. And in this consistency, you become not just someone who visits awakening, but someone who embodies it in every breath. We've reached the point where all the threads of this journey intertwine. From the beginning, you were invited to look within and realize that the silent void you feel is not absence but fullness. The quantum vacuum is not a dead space, but the matrix of creation, the living field that holds all possibilities. And within it, awakening is not a distant promise. It is a reality accessible now. Everything we've explored shows that the key is not outside you. It doesn't depend on circumstances, luck, or external events. The true quantum leap is born the moment you choose to align mind, heart, and body with the field. It's when you stop repeating past memories and choose to vibrate from the frequency of the desired future. Not as something distant, but as a reality already existing. The vacuum always responds. It is not selective, not arbitrary, not choosing who deserves it or not. It simply mirrors the vibration you sustain. If you vibrate fear, it reflects timelines that reinforce fear. If you vibrate gratitude and trust, it collapses realities that resonate with those frequencies. The field doesn't recognize requests. It recognizes states of being. This is why the quantum awakening is not about observing, but embodying. It's not enough to watch videos, read books, or reflect on theories. Awakening happens when you choose to live as the awakened version, now. Every conscious breath, every elevated thought, every act of love is a portal opening before you. Take a deep breath in this moment and feel it. You are already within the vacuum. There is no separation. The field surrounds and permeates you. Awakening is not something that will come. It is something you already are. Every time you choose to silence the internal and external noise, you feel the living reality of this field. Here is where the great revelation manifests. You are not here just to seek awakening. You are the awakening. Your presence, your consciousness, your vibration are the manifestation of the quantum field in human form. You didn't come to wait for the universe to change. You came to be the change the vacuum already contains. And remember, every breath is a portal. Every choice is a timeline. Don't underestimate the power of the simple. It is in the detail, in the present moment, that awakening reveals itself. The extraordinary doesn't happen in a distant tomorrow, but in the now, you choose to live with consciousness. So, declare to yourself, I am the awakening manifested in the quantum vacuum. I choose to vibrate the reality that already exists within me. Let this declaration be not just words, but a vibration felt in your heart. Along the way, you'll realize you're not alone. Others also feel the call, also recognize that life is more than repetition. When you vibrate awakening, you inspire others to do the same. The field responds collectively, and one person's awakening becomes an invitation for many. Thus, you don't just change your life, but participate in a larger, cosmic, collective shift. The vacuum doesn't wait for you to ask. It responds to what you are, and in this moment, The choice is before you. Remain in old timelines or cross the portal to the new. The final message is clear. You didn't come here just to observe awakening. You are the awakening. The quantum field already contains everything you seek. Choose, declare, live, because it is already within you. If this message resonated with you, if it touched your heart and brought clarity to your path, take this moment to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share in the comments what you felt. Your engagement strengthens this chain of awakening and helps more people find their way back to the quantum vacuum.